So with any luck, we should see all of this behaving. Rah, rah, ree. That's cool. I like that. That's moving. While we're here, let's go ahead and right click on our network and let's customize our parent component. We're going to have to make a few little changes to this. We're going to need a new page called QR code. Let's add that page. I'm going to bump it down. I'm going to put QR code first because I'd like, if I looked at my parent here, I'd like that to be the first one. An admin to be the second in the list there. If we zip inside, we're going to have a few things that we probably want to add, right? I'm guessing that we're going to have a file name. We've got some name that we're going to want to give to this file when we make it. Let's assume that's going to be a string. And then we're going to have a save folder. Where do I want to save these things? Let's actually make that a folder. Where are you? Great. So we've got a file name. We've got a folder for it. We're going to have some kind of data, right? So QR data. This is also going to be a string. And then make code or make QR code. And that's going to be a little pulse button. If I open up my parent parameters here and take a look at this. Oh, and I need to add that button, right? We've got a file name. We've got a place where it's going to get saved. There's the data that I want to stick into it. And then I've got to be able to make this thing. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add a little section because I want to be able to separate those out just a little bit. And I'm going to make a section for my button too, just in case I have some other data bits that I want to add at a later point. I'm going to leave that open, close this. While I'm in here, I'm going to add a movie file in, because just like we did before, I'd like to actually reload that QR code. And then this time I'm going to connect it to an out so that there's a nice little output of whatever I'm making. I'm going to zip inside. I'm going to Control S. I'm going to save this because I want to save the progress I've made here on this particular little component because it's really lovely and great. And then I'm going to go back over here to my extension land. So when it comes to extensions, I'm going to use the init statement to point to all my parameters, but I'm not going to actually evaluate their state. And that's, you'll notice these days in the parameter execute, it uses the same mechanism. So we have the actual object that points to the parameter, but we don't evaluate it until we're actually running the bit where we need that. So what do I need to know? I need to know my file name. And that's my parent. Actually, that is my self. Well, we can do it this way. myop.par. So myop, right? This thing here. If we look over here, I pass this object, right? This whole base is what I'm passing in here. So rather than having to think about a reference as something like this, right? Parent dot par dot whatever, I've already got this operator. So I can just use, myop, this thing that I pass in, dot par dot, what are our parameters? So our file name is just file name. Then what else? We've got our folder, save folder, myop.par.save folder. Oops, and that should be no spaces. No spaces on that one either. No underscores rather. Self, my QR data, and that's my myop.par.qr data. And then those should be all the bits that I need here. Now I'm going to do myself a couple favors. I'm going to kind of compartmentalize some of the bits that I might have to do. So one of the things I'm going to have to think about is I've got to actually make my save path. Right, so I've got to make the path for where I'm going to save this thing. I'm not going to worry about passing any arguments for this because I can grab all of these from the members that I have here. Whoop, come on back. Okay, what's my save path going to be? Well, what I want to do is I want to just put together these pathways, right, in a nice kind of neat way. So what's that going to look like? So that might look like my save path is going to be equal to, we can use our tricksy little format technique, curly braces / curly braces dot png. We know we're going to name this thing a PNG eventually. And I'm going to format that with my self save folder. So the folder where I'm going to get where I want to save this. And then I want to also put in there my self.file name. So we're going to concatenate those two bits together. We're going to give it this PNG extension. Great. And then what are we going to do? We're going to return our save path. Now, you know, it can seem pretty tempting to imagine that you might want to do all of this in one method. And part of what we're going to practice here is this notion that you might want to make small, sharp kind of methods or tools. You might want to have really more agile mechanisms there so that if you want to change how that mechanic works at a later date, you don't have to pull through all of the bits to get there. You can just kind of edit this one little sharp piece that you have to actually work with. Okay, what else? Let's get our QR data. Okay, what's that going to be? We're just going to return our self.qrdata.eval. So we're just going to evaluate that parameter and pass back the string. Great, wonderful. And then let's start to think about what we might actually want with our make QR code method. And again, I'm not going to worry about passing any arguments into this one just yet. I don't think. Let's see what's going to happen.